Welcome to Christian Answers. My name is Jeff Short and I am at the beautiful Chautauqua institution. As you can see over there, there is the sign. Let me zoom in on that sign. The Chautauqua institution, the south gate. I'm going to be going into the south gate today, and I'm going to be taking a stroll along the well, I guess I ought to get out of the way here. The traffic is coming through here, and I'm going to be taking a stroll through the Chautauqua institution today. I've come here many times. Today I'll be here on Sunday, and we'll be attending the church service today. And so, church service?
You got it. I'll give you a Sunday pass.
Okay. So you have to get a Sunday pass. Okay, thank you very much. Get a Sunday pass for the church service, and this enables me to be on the grounds on Sunday morning. So I'm just going to walk around here and make commentary on what I see. This is the back path, so I'm coming up here. Come up here many times, and but the Chautauqua Institution, if you aren't familiar with it, is a movement started about the early part of the 20th century, perhaps even a little bit earlier, but maybe not. Can't remember exact date it was started, but it was started as a Sunday school training meeting, and Sunday school teachers would come here and learn how to teach the contents of the Bible. And they would have lectures by Bible scholars, they would have lectures by people who were educators, and the whole purpose of this originally was to train and equip Sunday school teachers to go back into the churches and teach the Bible. And so that was the entire beginning foundation for the Chautauqua institution here. And it was also a place where the Sunday school teachers could get away from the cities and the hustle and the bustle of things. And so that was what it originally started. It is no longer that. Has nothing to do with Sunday school per se now. It's mostly a secular religious event. Now, they do have an ecumenical flavor now. This, for example, is the Catholic Church, and there's a Catholic Mass going on, and you can see the diversity here already, because here's the Catholic Mass. If you go in further there, they are having their Mass, and if you look in there, you will see the activities of the Mass taking place. But for the most part, it is a Protestant theme, Protestant institution. We see another, how you doing? We see another somewhat of a church down here. It looks more like a chapel than a church. And so I'm just going to go up to here and see what this is called. You'll see these all over the grounds. You'll see these little different denominational centers. Here is a chapel, Episcopal chapel. If you see in there, you can see the people in there are officiating, and you see people sitting down. This is a Episcopal chapel of the Good Shepherd. So They're having their service in there right now. And we're just going to continue the walk down here. I'm going to stay out of the way of some of these people. They're already going. What I'm doing is I'm attending the main Sunday morning service here in the amphitheater. But as you can see, that there are all kinds of other services taking place on the grounds at the same time. So you have a huge selection of different services to attend. And over here on the left is the Literary Arts Center, it says. And so there are activities that take place there, in addition to the lectures that take place in the main amphitheater. Okay, so I'm just going to take a stroll down here and give you sort of a flavor of what's taking place. I'm not sure what church service this is, but it will tell me here in just a second. And it looks like there are quite a few people over here. This is called the Hall of Philosophy. I don't want to raise my voice too hard because we're actually having a service right here.
And that is why I have become a vegetarian and practiced that faith for the last quarter of a century or more. Fortunately, my wife, a very good cook, was sympathetic to my...
Looks like it's the Unitarian Universalist service here on Sunday morning.
And while I probably confessed my...
And it's amazing that they would have, it's amazing that they would actually have enough people to fill that Hall of Philosophy. But that sort of gives you a flavor of the kind of people that come here. Many of them are not religious, they're not even Christian, and so there's a place for them over there, I guess. Here is the Lutheran house, and you can see the Reformation motto, the word alone, grace alone, faith alone. Some of the solas. This is the Lutheran house. And if you look in there, you can see that there is a service going on as we speak.
Action and exchange. He is broken open so that the compassion that Jesus always has is there. And the disciples see someone who comes to God, someone who comes to God.
So we're going to continue our stroll down the walkway here. That was the Lutheran house. Now, they have these homes or houses that represent the different, mostly Protestant denominations. For example, right here, this is called the Episcopal Cottage. And this is where the Episcopal church members come. There are rooms available you can rent. This is called the Episcopal House. We just saw where they were down at the chapel, so they're not in the house right now. The Episcopalians are not in the house, but they're down in the chapel right now. So they're gonna probably go as long as until this large main service starts in the amphitheater. Then they're going to come down here too. So that was the somewhat of a quick run through the homes. Now, one of the interesting things about this is that you have different denominations, and they all have their house. Episcopalian house, Lutheran house, Methodist house, Baptist house. In fact, we're coming up on the Baptist house right now, as you can see. It's says Baptist House. So you can't really miss it. It's really clear. And they have their services as well. And if we just peek inside here, we'll see some people in there, as you can see. So that's the Baptist House. And there are different houses as we stroll down the road here. Pretty quiet right now. A lot of people are still getting up and having their breakfast. And it sounds like this is the Disciples of Christ house. I don't see much activity going on there. And looks like the choir is practicing for the main service here, which will start at 10:45, about 45 minutes right now. This is the new amphitheater. So you can see the building and grounds. This is brand new, multi-million-dollar renovation job that was done here. And this is the choir. So we're going to go up to the Methodist house here, and it looks like on the way to the Methodist house we're going to go by the Catholic house. We saw the Catholic Mass taking place in the Catholic Church over there. This is the Catholic house right here, and if you're Roman Catholic you can stay here. Down the street from this is the Methodist house. Now, the one characteristic about all of this activity here is that it's pretty much liberal Christianity, meaning that you don't take the Bible literally. You basically reinvent the different symbols of Christianity. See, this is the Methodist house, right across from the amphitheater. So it's a really good spot for people who want to attend the Methodist Church and also attend the larger service. So I'm just going to walk down here, and we're going to visit another house. And now, what are they doing here? Well, this is a throwback. This is reminiscent of the original vision that Chautauqua Institution had of the teachers of Sunday school. And so you see again, here is the Church of Christ, United Church of Christ here. And this is their house. And this is the closest one to the amphitheater, except maybe the Presbyterian house, which is across the way there. I didn't show you that, but let me see if I can zoom in on that. I'm going to zoom in across the see if I can zoom in. Right across there is the Presbyterian house. So they're close. and so is the Church of Christ house is close. So I want to just stroll down the main plaza here. And we're going to see, that is probably it for the homes, the houses, denominational houses. But I'm going to take a stroll down here, and this is the main plaza right here. And like I was saying about the original vision was of a Sunday school teachers or Sunday school instructors training school. This is the main plaza. See people getting out of a bus here. See some dogs in a baby stroller. And you see down further. Now people are just getting out and about, probably for the first time today, and they are getting themselves ready for this service that is going to be taking place. So I'm just going to stroll down this way. There's a coffee shop right there, people getting their coffee. And the sun is coming out, so you can see that this place really heats up in the summertime. I'm going to take a walk down by the waterfront. But as you can see, there is the theme of religion all over this place. But the funny thing about that is that it is the liberal variety. And what I mean by that is that it is non-historic Christianity. It is not a religion that would take the Bible as the total reliable source of inspiration from God. It is not the variety that would confess necessarily the deity of Christ. It would not necessarily confess the Trinity, the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. It would not believe that necessarily Jesus is the only way, and so on and so forth. So it is a religious flavor, no question, but it is more man-centered, I'm sad to say, than it is God-centered. The flavor of everything here is humanism, and not as secular as you would get at, say, a university, because there are chapel services every day here. There is a massive church service on Sunday here, but while at the same time there is a religious flavor to this place, it is not the historic Christian faith. It's more of a modified humanism that uses the symbols of Christianity, uses the songs of Christianity, uses the language of Christianity to communicate almost an entirely different message. For example, you would never hear the verse quoted that Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except through me." You would not hear that here because this is an ecumenical institution. And they would not want to, I would imagine, exclude anyone, including Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, Hindus, and anyone else. So you will get a humanistic twist on everything that pertains to Christianity. Now let me see if I can show you some of the sun is a little difficult right here, but let me show you some of the scenes from the Chautauqua institution here. I'll be able to go down and narrate, but I will not be able to go. You will not be able to see me because I would be turning the camera directly into the sunlight. So what I'm going to do is just narrate here, and I'm going to see if I can explain a little bit further about what I'm talking about here. This is more or less a vacation spot for people from the Northeast, although not exclusively the Northeast, and they want to experience somewhat of a, I would say, mainline Protestant flavor here. And so if you are a mainline denominational Presbyterian, if you're a mainline denominational United Methodist, if you are a mainline denominational, for example, Congregationalist, Church of Christ, if you are someone who attends a Evangelical Lutheran Church, you just name the mainline denomination, you will feel right at home here, because you will hear words and you will hear songs sung and you will hear the language of Christianity, but you won't hear a defense of the historic gospel. You will not hear a defense of the historic values. For example, in the culture today, there's something called the culture wars, and these wars basically line up along secular versus historic Christian lines. So if you are a Christian and you're going to think about an issue like abortion, you're going to think about it either in a secular way, in a secular modern way, and you're going to be in favor of it probably. Or if you call yourself a Christian, you're going to think of abortion through the lens of historic Christianity and the Bible. And in that sense, you are going to oppose it because you see it as an evil. And this is pretty much not just a cultural war in our society on politics, it's a cultural war in our society in respect to Christianity and church, and it's something that's happening for the people who, for example, are trying to convert church into more or less just an extension of culture. And you see that happening on these major social issues like abortion. You see the pressure on churches to conform to the secular vision, the liberal vision of society. And so what you're seeing is denominations like the PCUSA, Presbyterian Church, United States, and they were 20, 30 years ago somewhat conservative. Now the PCUSA could no longer be classified as a conservative Christian denomination. They're fully supportive of abortion, and they also now embrace the LGBTQ revolution, and they have, for example, now they permit so-called gay weddings, and they also ordain so-called gay clergy. So that denomination where it once was a fairly conservative denomination, now is liberal, in the sense that they've pretty much jettisoned their Christianity for the modern progressive agenda. And you could do that with almost every denomination. The United Methodist is a little bit different. They're behind the times in the sense of embracing the LGBTQ revolution. They're actually behind the curve, and it's embarrassing for some of its members, but it's great for the more historic Christian members of that church, because they're happy that their denomination is not caved in. But if you were to hear the speakers at Chautauqua Institution, and you were to listen to the themes, you will find that for the most part it takes a mainline Protestant liberal position on every single issue. And there may be some, quote, conservative evangelical speakers here that will appear on the schedule, but those speakers either are badly compromised themselves in these areas, so in other words, they're arguing in favor of joining the mainstream here, or they're thrown in sort of just as a counterpoint, and it usually doesn't take place that way, though. They don't usually have a point and counterpoint dialogue here at Chautauqua Institution. They don't have debates usually here at Chautauqua Institution for some strange reason, because the climate is somewhat pseudo-intellectual, but there's no real debate, point, counterpoint. There's no real kind of weighing the sides. They have dialogues here, and that's good. I'm glad they have dialogues, but that gets really old really fast when all you have is the dialogue format. So you really do need to have some actual debates, organized debates, polite debates, civil debates. I'm not talking about fights, but actually need to have something more substantive to just a dialogue. Well, that's the first report on Chautauqua Institution. We'll see you back next week on another edition of Christian Answers. God bless.